That episode was that was the first episode we did, and it was so the title of the episode comes from a book by Jeanette Winterson, who is one of my favorite authors, and specifically, it's about the book is about a romance, like a sort of a personal romance, but I've always really loved that phrase, and sort of. I just think it's really clever and interesting. And so for this episode, I wanted to focus on ideas of the body, stories that talk about our own sort of physical bodies, our place in our bodies, how we see ourselves, how we and it's not necessarily just like an issue of physicality. It's about style. It's about control. It's about personal identity within the body and things like that. That episode featured two stories. It featured a story from me, and it featured and the story from me was written when I was in a writing residency at the Ace Hotel in Palm Springs, and that's also where I sort of edited it and did a lot of work on the podcast. And then it featured a story by a woman named Hafsa Arain, who is one of my friends from college, but she's also an academic, largely covering sexuality and identity in the LGBT community and the Muslim community. And so on that podcast episode, she specifically talked about her experiences of realizing that she was asexual. We recorded that episode in the bathroom of the hotel room I was staying at the Ace Hotel. Yeah. To, get like a quiet space. And she came out to me on that podcast. So I didn't even know she was going to tell that story. And that was the story she told. It was deeply personal. And some of the future episodes usually feature like 3, maybe even 4 storytellers. But that one, because it was so long and complex and so serious and so important, that I thought it really just needed to be like showcased on its own. So that's the Written on the Body story. It's on iTunes and it's on SoundCloud. It's not on Stitch yet. Hoping to do that in the future.